Hi everyone, how are we doing? How's everyone doing this evening? Hope you're getting the sun today. Just wanted to come on here and introduce myself and discuss mindset and any questions that people might have. Jump on board, let me know what's going on with you, what you'd like to talk about, and let me know what's bothering you with your circumstances. And I'll be diving into everything to do with your mindset and how you can try and control it to give yourself more of a positive outcome in your life, how that happens, what mindset really is, who you really are, what we are actually living in, what the universe is. You hear a lot of people talking about letting yourself off, give yourself away to the universe and let it decide for you. So I'll be diving into everything to do with law of attraction and mindset, and why I got involved in this as well. This is like something that's big in my life now, and it's a journey that I'm new to. I would say the last 2 years I've been following this system with the law of attraction, and I just would like to share my experience and let you see how you can implement this too into your way of life and what's going on with yourself. So to give you a rundown, I have been running a few businesses in my life. I've had a few failures. I've had some successful ones coming out. And when the successes hit, I've tried to build them up. And all I ever found was I ended up with health problems, or I ended up at a point where I would be burned out and not enjoying myself. So I had to take a step back and start thinking, well, what's going on? Why am I feeling like this isn't going to work for me when all I'm trying to do is enjoy my job and everything just seems to be falling on top of me and making me feel overwhelmed and anxious about everything. And the key to it is getting a balance. And I knew this from the start. I knew I need to get a work-life balance. I need to understand what's going on with myself. I need to understand what's going on with the business, why every time everything seems to be working out, something bad seems to come out of the back of it. Some negativity seems to overwhelm the positivity in it and ends up consuming the business and making me feel stressed. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that I needed to be starting to work on myself. And this is where my journey really started. I realized that I need to be working on everything to do with who I am as a person, my personality, and what I'm actually creating in my reality to help build my foundation of my success in my businesses. And what I found was, as I started diving more into it, I realized how much control I actually have from just changing who I am as a person. And what I mean by that is your reality is created through your perception of what reality is. So depending on your mindset and just depending on how you feel at the time, and the feeling is the important bit, which we'll talk more about as we come more into this live, is being aware of who you are has a significant impact on how you end up approaching life and how you end up actually coming across to other people in life. So what I would say is, when I started this journey, I started to realize that how I felt and how I was perceiving things was actually what was creating the reality I was living in. So if I started feeling anxious about something, it was almost like, for me, feeling that thought and really bringing that in, started feeling stressed. I started reacting to it, and I started reacting to it in a stressful, negative way, which then seemed to create more of it. So I ended up with a life where I was creating more of this negativity. And becoming observant of this, particularly through meditation techniques that I've done all my life, I started to realize that the observation of my subconscious thought process, which was the go-to reactions I had, I started to realize I was actually quite an angry person. I was quite reactive in an anxious way. I didn't have as much control that I like to believe I had at the time. And by observing this, I also started to realize I could start changing this. So what ended up happening was, because I changed the way that I perceived myself, I started I started appearing into the world in a different way. So people started reacting to me differently. So it was quite interesting how, when I started working on myself, I started to realize that working on myself, I ended up actually turning into a different person in other people's eyes. So people were perceiving me as someone different and reacting with me in a different way. So what happens as you start doing that is you start realizing you can actually start changing your reality. So by changing your personality, you're actually changing your personal reality. And it's something that I follow someone on, it was a Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks quite deeply about this, about how your personal reality is literally a reflection of your personality. So if you can start changing who you are as a person, you will start seeing these changes happen in your reality. So when I started looking into this and I started researching more into it and understanding that a reality is just a mind's perception of what you think life should be, because at the end of the day, everything we look at is a thought process. Everything that we do in life is a thought process. And if you start looking at everything in the perception that you can control it, then it opens up a world that you didn't know existed. You start to realize how much control you actually have over the negativity in your life. So what I found through meditation and mindset control was I could start to create things in my world that didn't exist. I could start thinking about a future that didn't exist as if it was already there. And it might sound a bit daft, it might sound a bit delusional, but what I actually started practicing with, and this was well before I even started looking into the law of attraction, this was through my own trial and errors, that I could actually take a bit of a back seat and I didn't have to be constantly trying to control everything. I became a bit of a micromanager with myself and a bit of a control freak. I was trying to control everything that's going on in my life and everything that's going on in my world. And by taking that back seat on the control side and just using my imagination to think about what I wanted, these things actually started to appear in my life. And it was always appearing around the times it needed to happen. So for example, I had a point with my business where I lost some major contracts, and I remember at the time I was going through this mindset change at the time, and I remember thinking, if this was me 2 years ago, I would have been freaking out right now. I would have been phoning every contractor up I can, trying to get work and panicking over this. This time I didn't. This time I decided I'm just going to sit back and chill and enjoy what's going on and take it as a lesson that I'm in control of what the outcome of this is. And by getting reactive to it in a negative state of mind, I'm not going to be able to control that. If I get into it in a state of mind where I'm actually feeling creative and I can come up with ideas and I can zone in on those creations and start manifesting them into existence, really believing them, sitting in a meditative state and getting myself into the mindset where I could start feeling them coming into my life, being delusional. And I'm not saying go out into life and be delusional, but being delusional in a meditative state and believing that that's going to become part of your existence, it starts to happen. And so what happened around these times where the contracts went was I got a message on LinkedIn from a company which I'd contacted probably about a year and a half ago before this had happened. And I'd asked them for work. I'd been asking for work. This was around about the time when I was being more controlling over my environment. I was always pushing and pushing. And I pushed out these emails to these managers. They never got back to me, and I left it. I actually forgot about it. And the time that I lost the contract, within a week, I got a bigger contract, bigger than the 4 contracts I had, to help me get through that point. And I didn't do a thing. I literally got a message on LinkedIn at the right time, someone saying, are you interested in work? We noticed we haven't contacted you in the year that you've contacted us, and we'd like to take you on board and get you on with these contracts. And it was a bit of an eye opener for me, because I started realizing that how much of your mindset of worry and anxiety is based around something that hasn't happened yet. Like you sit there and worry about finances, you sit there and worry about if you're going to get sacked from your job, you sit there and worry that your colleague doesn't like you and they're talking about you behind your back, and all these worries, it's like it consumes you and it ends up becoming you, because that's all you're thinking about. And if you can remove that mindset and start thinking in a positive light about everything, and try and observe the negativity when it comes through, be aware of it and adjust it with something else that is positive. Like affirmations are key for this. And what I tend to do is I'll start off the morning, even just 5-10 minutes. If you can give yourself 5-10 minutes in the morning and just give yourself affirmations about how you are powerful, how you are the creator of your own reality, how you are the 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 creator of your own mindset, how I love myself, how I'm grateful for what I have in life, because I believe that I live in a world where everything is given to me because I am a positive person. Or some affirmations that I write down, which I use quite regularly, are ones like, I am a confident, successful, and pure. This world that I live in, that I create, that I am the master of, I have no limits in. There is no limitations. I can convert and manifest anything I want with the right mindset. I am pure love and I love myself unconditionally. Now, these affirmations are going to make you cringe when you first do them. You just feel like an idiot. And it's like, you're telling yourself you love yourself. We're conditioned into a world where you're not allowed to tell yourself that you're superhuman, or that you're a confident person and you can conquer anything. That you get told that you're arrogant to think like that. And that's what we're always dragged down by our environment to believe that we're not allowed to speak about ourselves like this. And what you need to cut out from your life is this belief system that that's how life is. You need to start empowering yourself. You need to start believing in yourself. You need to start praising yourself. You need to start becoming more selfish, believe it or not. The more selfish you become, the more things will come into your life that you want. And I don't mean being selfish in a negative way of being horrible to people. I mean being selfish in the way that you're working on yourself, because guess what? The more that you work on yourself, the more that you can offer other people within your reality. So if you start working on yourself, you're going to start allowing other people to have more come into their life, because you're bringing more into their life through the work that you're doing on yourself. You cannot be a people pleaser. You cannot bring sustainability of positive life into your reality by not by constantly trying to please other people and work on other people. Other people are on their own journey and they need to work on themselves on their own journey. You can be someone that can point them in the right direction, but you can never force someone into the right direction. So this is where you need to work on yourself, because by working on yourself, you can force that into yourself by believing through affirmations and positive talk to yourself. And what that ends up doing is it has an effect on the people around you. It will start drawing people into your life. And it's funny because this just fell off onto my desk, actually. The journey is the destination. So that's probably going to be the next point. I've got all these little stickers on my to remind me of different things. So the journey is the destination. And I think that's the thing that people forget, is they want these things. We grow up in this world of consumerism where we're expected to get pleasure from things that we buy and all this. And I'm telling you right now, these things will bring you pleasure for about 2 milliseconds in your life, and already your brain is trying to think up something else to put in place of it. So you need to start taking pleasure in understanding who you are and what you are and what a powerful being you actually are. You create your own reality. And this is where the journey is the destination, is what you will start getting into the mindset of, is as you start coming into the understanding that the journey is the destination, you will think up something you want. So say you want the $1 million in the bank, or the £1 million in the bank, and you want the big house, you want the family, you want the big yacht, you want all this, you want everything else to come into your life. You can think that can be your destination thought. But what you'll find is, as you're going through the journey to get to that and you're manifesting it, you're constantly thinking it, you've got your mind's goal on it, your whole ambition is to get to these things. Your vision board, maybe you've done one of these, is to get to that point. Is you'll start having all these things come into your life that will take you on a different journey to get to that point. And you'll start realizing that you're enjoying the journey, you're enjoying these experiences. And that's what it's all about, is these experiences that come into it, is understanding that the journey is all based around the experience, because then the destination just becomes something in the future, which is never going to be reached. And if it does, it becomes irrelevant, because you start understanding that the things that are coming into your life now is what really matters. It's living in the present moment and understanding that you are in control of what's happening in your present moment. You're not in control of what's happening in the future. Your past has already happened. It has no control over you now. It has no reflection on how things are going to turn out for you. And you just need to understand that the present moment is exactly where you want to be. It's where you want to try and keep your mind, and that is where things will start happening for you. You'll start manifesting these opportunities into your life. And what I found through my experience is, as I started to think like this, and the key thing for me was through meditation. As I said before, is that meditation is key, because what this does is we consistently live in this beta mindset. So we're in this wavelength where we're constantly at war with ourselves. We're constantly battling against the environment we're in when we're in the beta mindset. And the beta mindset is going to start bringing you stress into your life, because you're overthinking things. You need to stop overthinking things. Meditation states will bring you into a form of like an alpha waveform, which is more relaxed. You're more in tune with who you are as a being. And I will be getting quite more spiritual into this, because through my experiences that I've had in life, is the spiritual side of life is more of a higher consciousness. Now, this has been called by celebrities the universe. It's also known in like Christianity, it's the Bible, as the God. In physics, which is where I come from with my scientific background, my courses that have led me into this, is the quantum field. Now, these are all one of the same thing, and basically what this is teaching you is you can tap into that whenever you want. It's infinite knowledge, it's infinite intelligence. It's something you tap into when you sleep. So when you go into a sleep and you go into a deep sleep, which is then into your delta wavelengths, you end up in a point of where you're actually envisioning something without being attached to a reality. So anything can happen. If we did not have this reality that we live in, this physical 3-dimensional reality, then anything would be possible. So this is the mindset you need to get into, that anything is possible, even within your 3D reality. Because what happens is you manifest these things through meditative states of mind. You manifest these through dream states that you're in when you're sleeping. And when you start manifesting these things into your life, people are attracted to you. But you basically become a magnet for the emotions that you're feeling. So if you're feeling negativity and you're feeling anxiety, we live in a world, a universe of the law of attraction. So you attract what you are. You are what you vibrate at, basically. It's as much as that saying, you are what you eat. Well, you are what you vibrate at. You are your frequency that you're vibrating at. And the more that you vibrate at that, the more you're going to attract it. So it's understanding that balance. And you don't have to believe this. You just need to test it and try it out. Is you will start feeling things coming into your life, and people will magnetize towards you that you resonate at their frequency at. So the more you get into this, the more momentum you end up adding onto it as well. So in my experience, is you can dive right into the law of attraction. You've got to practice it for life. It's one of these things where it will never disappear. It's always there. You're always attracting what you are resonating. So you're always going to give that off. So what you need to get into the mindset of understanding is, if you want to live in a world that's different to the one you're in now, and you want to start moving into a world where you can be in control of your life, you can be in control of your dreams, your destination, you can be in control of everything going on of it, you need to let go of control. As contradictory as that sounds, you need to start allowing your higher consciousness version of yourself to start taking control of things. You put a thought out there. So what I tend to do is I'll sit in the morning and I'll get into a meditative state. I'll do my breathing techniques, and I'll start breathing about how. Hi Craig, how you doing? Can you use your imagination? Yes, you can. I mean, that's what it's all about. But what you've got to put in there is, sorry, I just realized I'm actually missing out on all the comments here. I've just seen your comment there, Craig. So what it is you use your imagination. Your imagination is what creates your reality. Because at the end of the day, if you think of it in a science perspective, your reality doesn't exist unless you think about it. So your thinking is an imagination. There's an imaginatory thought. Can't get my words there. It's a thought process. It's a system that you design through your imagination. So to get things to start appearing in your life, what you need to actually start envisioning is and a thought process about something that you want in your life, but attaching an emotion to it. And it's the attaching the emotion to it which is the key bit. You're magnetizing it, you're attracting it to you. And hi Kate, how you doing? Good to see you. And what you're doing is you're magnetizing that thought process by putting an emotion attached to it. Emotion is thought and motion. So you're starting to bring that idea, that ideology that you've got into your life. And the bit that people stumble with, this is my experience, this is going off my experience of how things have been for me, and it seems to work. I'm not saying it's gospel, I'm not saying it's right, but what I find is the more that you dive into manifestation and the law of attraction, you start understanding that you can actually start drawing these powers, I'm going to say, into your existence. You can start drawing these thoughts into your existence, and they start becoming your reality. So again, it's accepting it. So what you're doing is you're changing the way you perceive things because you're accepting it. You're having faith in the belief that you're not the one in control of what comes into your life. You are just the master of your own mind. You are the one creating the image. You're the artist in your head that's got the creativity to come up with the idea of what you want. And it's the universe that then goes off your blueprint and goes, I shall make this for you. If you keep the right emotional vibrational frequency of higher vibrations, you will start creating that world of higher vibrational frequencies through the blueprint that you've created that the higher consciousness can go off. So this is where people stumble, though, because they expect that as soon as they go into this higher consciousness state of mind where they can have the higher vibrational frequencies coming through, that they're suddenly just going to live in this world where it's this, I am here and my life is now just going to go like this, and I'm just going to be successful with no downfalls, no anything bad happening. That is not the case, because life is about experience. We are here as higher dimensional beings having a human experience to understand what it feels like to have emotional thoughts that we can actually manifest into our reality and enjoy the experience. And I will dive into more about what the terminology is around this and what the ideas and belief systems are around, well, why, if we're higher dimensional beings, will we need to have this existence that we've created. And I'll get into that at some point. It might not be in this live, it might be in the one that I do tomorrow. But the turmoil people end up creating themselves is they seem to think that suddenly, because they've become this higher being, they feel this great change in energy in themselves, that they're going to just suddenly have this consistency and they're just going to keep going up and up and up. And what they don't realize is it's kind of like, if anyone's ever done trading, it's like trading. It never just goes up and up and up. It has peaks. It goes down. It goes up. It goes down. And the down's the negativity. The up's the positivity. And what ends up happening is they manifest this into their life. They see something coming in, and then something really bad happens, and they go, "Oh, this is nonsense. It's not working. It's a load of crap. Law of attraction doesn't work. I really felt it was there. I got my hopes up, and now I've just lost everything." It happens. There's a deficit. You've been living a life of, say even in your 20s. I'm in my 40s. Say in your 20s, you've had nearly 20 years of living a life where you didn't understand what the law of attraction was. So you're going to have these negative impacts coming in, these negative thought processes that we've been brought to grow up with, these points in our life where people have told us how something should be. You need to work hard. You need to graft at this. You need to go get an education. You need to go to this university. You can't look at someone in that. You can't look at something in that perspective. You can't. There's always other people putting their own belief systems in your head. These are going to knock you back. These are going to always make you have the peaks and troughs and get into your success. And you need to understand that you're going to have negative impacts in your life along the positive path, and they're part of the journey. And that's where the journey becomes exciting, because if it was constantly goodness happening, how are you going to reflect that and have a perspective about what's good and what's bad? You need to reflect it off something. You need to understand that negative point, I don't ever want to be there again. I want to be here. And so therefore I'm going to work on it to get there. So there's always a challenge. There's always a work. There's always the universe testing you. And what I find usually is, I mean, I'm going through a particularly hard point right now with one of my businesses. One of my businesses could be failing right now. But I know through my experiences that is a good point, because I'm putting a lot more of my energy, a lot more of my focus into my other business, which is where my heart is. And that is basically this, the True Millionaire Mindset, the Academy. And it's understanding that my other business was built off control. It was built off something that wasn't based around the law of attraction. And that is now crumbling away because it doesn't fit in with my mindset now. And this goes back to my whole discussion at the start of this, where I discussed that mindset controls your reality. Your thought process is your reality. Your perception of what reality is comes from within. So when you start looking at your reality outside is literally a reflection of who you truly are inside. So of course, if you start changing who you are inside and your perspective on what life actually is, certain things in your life are going to start changing, and it's going to have a negative impact on you. It's going to be something negative at some point. It might not. You might end up with something positive turning into something more positive. But what I find through my experience is something has to crumble. That foundation that you've built your life off needs to disappear. And if it means bringing yourself down to level 0 and starting again, then that's what needs to happen. And that's what I find happens with me. And usually what I find is when the shit hits the fan, and I know I probably shouldn't swear on this, being TikTok, it might ban me there, but when it hits the fan, if you can keep that positive mindset and not let it overwhelm you and consume you, amazing things happen. Everything changes. Your perspective on what negativity actually is changes. And when you start doing this a few times and you start realizing that that negativity that came into your life, that point where you maybe lost your job, that happened to you for a reason, not because you're a negative person, not because the universe has it in for you and it wants you to fail. The universe is unconditional love, because that in essence is what we actually are. Evening, Ames, how you doing? And that in essence is what we actually are. So you need to understand that your negativity is not brought on by anyone but yourself. So if you could start controlling how you feel about the perspective of certain aspects of things that are happening in your life, then you start to realize that it becomes a bit of a game. You start to realize that, well, if I know that something big negative is happening in my life, then there must have been a big shift in me to make that change happen. So what is that? What do I need to do to either continue that, to make this change that's happening turn into something positive, and put your positive affirmations in place there to understand that you are the creator of your own destiny. You're the creator of your own world. You're the creator of your own reality through your thought process, through your minds, through your ability to do what you want to do through just having a thought process. And what you find happens through this process is when you do it once and then you do it again, and you start realizing and you start reflecting back on yourself and observing what that actually is. And observing it is key. Something that people don't do is observe. And why you need to observe what's happened in your past and what's happening now and what you want in the future and how you react to it. Observing how you react to it is important, is because what you're doing is you're detaching from your subconscious mind. It's your subconscious mind that is keeping you stuck where you are. Your subconscious mind doesn't like change. It likes continuity of the same thing. So it likes to see a repeat pattern of something familiar. And as soon as you start bringing that in, anxiety kicks in, and that's your subconscious kicking you back. It's punching you back into your comfort zone. Change will never happen if you stay in your comfort zone. You need to envelop yourself with the belief that everything good happens to you outside of the comfort zone. So you need to get yourself there. You need to do something different each day, a compound effect. What I try and teach with myself is, and what I teach some clients is, a 2% compound change each day will lead to a massive alteration in your life within a month. If you can just do that for say 21 days, and 21 days is a key thing, because they find statistically that after 21 days, people aren't interested in controlling. People aren't interested in the original goal. They lose interest. They get deflated with it, and they don't want to do it. If you can sustain that for 21 days, you actually start to rewire the neural pathways in your brain to start accepting the belief system that you're trying to ingrain in yourself, to remove the old system that you've already got there. So if you've got one where you find that you're instantly going to negativity, You need to observe that. As soon as you observe it, you've done 90 more than what 90% of people will do out there. As soon as you start to observe it and observe the emotion, even write it down. So much going on in your brain. There's like, I think they say there's like 50,000 thoughts or 100,000 thoughts every day that everyone have. It could be more. I'm just, it's irrelevant. There's so many thoughts that go through our head. You can't expect to remember them all each day. So you've got to write things down. You've got to write down how you reacted. Maybe someone spoke to you in a way that could be controversial, but whether they would be nice or they would be horrible, take a mental note of it and write it down. Maybe not write it down in front of them. It might look a bit off. Like, hang on, I'm just going to write down how I feel about you saying that. But you know, it's like bringing into your world about how you're reacting to things. And if you start doing this, you start getting almost like a mind map of how you react to certain things. And this is how I ended up finding out I was actually quite an angry person. I reacted to people in a negative way, angry, when I would almost want to shoot people down for having a different opinion at times in my life. And this goes back to limited beliefs that I've grown up with through being a child, where I was in an environment with people that were not very nice people that I ran about with, and so it was always a bit of a bully mentality went on. So I always had this real anger against myself was probably what it was. And these limited beliefs are what's limiting you from getting to where you want to get to. And if you could start observing that, you start taking control of your subconscious mind. And as soon as you start taking control of your subconscious mind, you can start replacing the negative emotions that it puts in place to protect you, to replace them with positivity. So I'll give you an example of what I ended up doing. With me, every time something bad was happening, I'd get anxious. I would, like, my heart would start going. I'd be like, ah, this is it, I'm done. How the hell is this going to work? I would sooner or later pull myself out of it, but it would be through the point that I'd been overthinking with the circumstances. And then when the circumstance didn't happen where I thought it was going to happen, in like 90, I think it's 85% of the time. I think, Ames, when you were on yesterday, I said it was 97%. I looked it up again. It's 85% of the time what you think's going to happen isn't going to happen, and the anxiety into the overthinking, and only 12% of the time it actually ends up actually happening in that mindset that you're in. 3% of the time it might actually happen. So I mean, there's only 3% of the time of what you're actually thinking the worst case scenario is, it's actually going to happen. The rest of the time it's just your mind. So you're building yourself up into an anxiety state of mind around something that hasn't even happened yet. And this is what I used to always do. Like, I had a contract, and then suddenly I wouldn't hear from the guy, and I'm like, oh my God, that's it, we're going to lose this contract. The guy's not been in touch. I can't get a hold of him. He's usually really communicative with me. I really need this contract. This is paying for XYZ employees that I've got. If I lose this contract, I'm screwed. And then suddenly I get a phone call, like, oh, sorry, mate, I was on holiday. Yeah, I'll tell you what, can we keep you on for another 6 months? Because you're doing a really good job. We're really impressed with you. The guys will be talking about it. In fact, we want to give you more contracts. For a whole, like, 2 weeks, I was stressing my mind out over nothing. And this is the thing. So what I started teaching myself was, right, see, from now on, whenever something like that happens again, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to be like, you want to look back at your past and realize that you dealt with that in a confident way, and you felt empowered by your own self-belief. You believed that this was going to work. You believed that it doesn't matter what you're thinking, there's no negative thoughts going to come through about this, because it will always work out for me. I will find a way to get through this. And I kept repeating this to myself. This was before I started doing manifestations and stuff like that. But this is me almost going through a natural path of like a survival mode in my head, that I needed to sustain a positive mindset to run this business, or I'm just going to end up in health situations and end up lying in hospital with a heart attack, which I had 3 times through running the business. I had 3 heart attacks through the stress that I brought in. So I've been forced into this situation. So I had to force my mind to realize that if I want to look back at my past and realize that I can attach something stressful in work with a positive emotion, I need to go through that period where I was having the hard time with a positive mindset. And so that's what I ended up doing. So what I did without realizing it, I was rewiring my subconscious mind to understand that next time something stressful happens, the first subconscious go-to thought in my head is going to be, I got this last time. I dealt with this last time. I dealt with this the time before that. I didn't allow myself to become anxious about it. And I just built myself up to become someone who can deal with shit when it goes wrong. And that's what I did. So now every time I look at something stressful happening in my life, my subconscious go-to has been rewired. My neural pathway has been rewired through the years of teaching myself that when something negative comes into my life, something more positive is going to come out of it. And if you can keep that mindset of, I'm going to lose my finances, you don't know that. You don't know that you're going to lose those finances. It's not nice to know that something's in a decline right now, and your mindset is telling you that that money is declining and you aren't getting anything in to replace it. You're maybe getting more bills coming out than you've got the income coming in. You can't beat yourself up with the what ifs it doesn't work out. Why not beat yourself up with the what ifs it does work out? What if something great comes out of this? What if this suddenly becomes an opportunity for me? Because I wouldn't be focusing on that now. I wouldn't be focusing on the money. But now that I'm focusing on it, I'm starting to see opportunities coming out of it. Instead of looking at like you're seeing negativities coming out, you're seeing an opportunity coming out of your negative situation, because this is how the law of attraction works. You start attracting what you start feeling and what your emotions are attached to. So if you can start looking at a negative point in your life as something that is going to bring out an outcome of positivity, then you're going to start realizing that you're going to start attracting that positivity into your life. And this is what it's all about. And this is what I taught myself, and it started to work. And this is how I got into the journey of the law of attraction. This was all things that I taught myself well before. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Good to see you on here. And this is where I started realizing that the law of attraction is a big deal. It exists. I thought, well, if just with me changing my mindset is starting for me to view things in a different perspective, and they're starting to appear in my life, then there's some other shit going on right now. There's something else going on that is creating this reality. It's you know, this I'm not a victim of my reality. I am the creator of my reality, and it's getting into that. I'm trying my hardest to be more positive. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It is tough, and I don't know if you do meditations or anything, Ames. If you put a 1, if you do. If not, there are meditation courses that I've got on my bio that might help, and I'm always happy to jump in. If you do a one-to-one consultation, I do a free 30-minute, 45-minute consultation where I'm happy to sit and chat to you about anything, just to give you we can have a more personal chat about what you need help with to make you feel more positive. But I'm always open. The calendar's on there. You just need to go on there and just click on it, and we can have a chat. But the hard bit is to be positive when you're used to a world where you're made to feel negative. I mean, just look at mainstream media, and it's something I don't watch anymore. It's like, if you think that the world, if you start to believe that the world is the law of attraction exists, so you attract what you feel, you attract what you think. With that emotion attached, you start attracting that into your life. If you start to believe that and bring that into your existence and start understanding that, just think what mainstream media is doing to you. Mainstream media is on the TV 24/7, feeding you negative news about the world and everything going on. There's never anything positive in it. And if you've ever noticed, if you start looking into it, they know this. They know the law of attraction freaking exists. I don't care what anyone says. They know how to basically get this. Hi, QT, I can't say your name, QT6. QT6. That's all right. It's not, we've only been on, oh my God, we've been on 40 minutes. Didn't even realize. But the mainstream media knows this. They use mind tricks. They use psychology to basically get you feeling negative. They want you stuck in this position. They want you stuck in a place where you feel negative about things. So they put negative news out there. But what do? They don't just put the negative news out there. They stick an empowering song in the background to get your emotions going, to get your heartstrings going, to get you feeling sad, to make you feel distressed. You notice it's always the impairing music comes on when it's something negative. Start looking at things like this. You'll start observing them. Put the news on when it's something positive they're talking about. That 3 seconds of the news within the 24/7 where they actually put something positive on it. No music, nothing. It's just, and so Jimmy got a Blue Peters badge today. Well done to him. On to the next news, the war and poverty, music blaring out again. It's all about controlling your mind. It might sound very conspiracy-like, but this is what you start picking up on when you start accepting that the world is in a law of attraction. Physics is how I look at it. And if you can start getting into that mindset of understanding that, then you can start removing the boundaries that you create yourself to protect yourself. And that's your subconscious mind, basically. So affirmations in the morning are key. Affirmations in the morning are key for me. It starts the day off. It basically, what, even if you don't do meditating much, it's Craig, I've not had a TV for 4 years. But that's the thing, it's like we have a TV, and it's like even now I get quite skeptical about what we watch. Like watching a horror movie, I'm like, do I want to manifest that into my life? Living zombies walking about, and it's you start understanding it. I think when you start seeing the differences come into your life through law of attraction, you start actually understanding that I need to work on myself. If I'm going to start working on myself, then I'm going to basically get the reality I want. You change your personality, you change your personal reality. It's really that simple. And it's about getting an understanding that you are not a victim of your surroundings. So like we've grown up in this, like I'm going to go into the physics side of it, because it's getting bad on here. I try not to watch TV anymore. I came off a lot of social media really. I've TikTok now. Yeah, see, I'm the same. I'm streaming actually. I'll remember to stream this time. I'm streaming on Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, and X as well. And I've got the premium account on there, but I never go on them. I'm not interested. I'm like you. I just use TikTok, to be fair. I mean, I probably should get my Instagram account up, but it's just so it's the negativity that comes out into the world that we're all indoctrinated to believe that's how the world is. The world is not like that. The world is a beautiful place. It's somewhere to embrace. It's somewhere to enjoy. It's somewhere where we don't live in a lack of environment. We live in an abundance. We live in a society where we could have anything we want by just having the right mindset. And if people got removed from this negative reality that we're grown up with, that we're made to believe is the way that we exist, then everything will start shifting for you. You can start getting into the correct mindset of understanding that I am the powerful being that creates my own reality. I am love. I am life. I am the creator of everything that I am. I am the creator of everything that I want to be, and I have that power within me. It has nothing to do with anything outside. This is where I was going into with my mindset about my subconscious rewiring that I did about when something negative comes into my life in my business and I started panicking about it. I then got myself into a point where I was like, oh, well, no, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this in a positive light. And I know that it's really stressful and this shit could hit the fan right now and I could end up losing everything, but I'm not going to allow that to consume me. And everything starts appearing in your life. People start appearing in your life in ways that you could never imagine. I mean, I literally, when I started this, I was like, right, Phil, you need to get your act together. You need to start getting on with building up your brand, building up something that is going to get you more recognized. How are you going to do this? So I started looking into how to stream on multiple platforms like I'm doing now. Started looking into podcasts, something I'd always thought about, but I'd never known how to do it. I didn't have a clue what equipment to use. I didn't know how to set it up. And I just thought I need guidance with this. But I know through the law of attraction, I can't stress about it and I can't start trying to control every scenario that's happening to get me there. I need to think about it, envision it. It's almost like just going back to being a kid, being a 5-year-old child, sat imagining things and having a laugh with yourself and really embracing it, the feeling. And that's what it's all about. And that's what I started doing. I just started like really envisioning myself being in a point where I'm actually watching someone doing a podcast and talking me through it in their room, to the point I envisioned the room to so much detail that what ended up happening was I ended up going to do a job and for my brick and mortar business in the fire industry, and the customer happened to be a mindset coach. She ran retreats in Dumfries. She had a podcast room. She had information on me on how to stream to multiple platforms, the way to do it for free. All this came about within a few days of me doing meditation states of mind into this. I'd been thinking about it for ages, and then I really zoned in on it and started thinking about it. And not confident enough to do what you're doing on camera. Do you know what, Ames? Neither am I. It's really that simple. It's and this is the belief system. You believe that you're not confident. Here's something that someone said to me. I can't remember. It was a conversation that came up. Are you like, you're obviously saying you're not confident. Now here's a bit of here's a paradox for you, Ames. Are you confident that you're not confident? Put a 1 if that's yes. Put a 1 in the comments if you're confident you're not confident, and let me know what you think. Like, you're obviously you're telling me you're not confident enough to do something, right? So the paradox here is you're confident you're not confident, so therefore you're confident. So you're confident in your negative thought that you're not confident, but there's a paradox in that. You can't be confident that you're not confident. It doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? So this is where belief systems come into it. You're believing that you're not confident. It's nothing to do with who you are as a person. It's not anything to do with what you are personality wise. It's your belief system. Your subconscious mind is telling you that you are not confident to do this. And this is what I'm on about with the 2% compound effect each day. Try and do something outside your comfort zone. Even if you don't want to come onto this, I think it's the negativity that could come from it. Well, that's it. It's exactly what, and this is unfortunate what your subconscious mind is. Your subconscious mind is a primordial mindset, which was there to help us during the times when we were cavemen, and it protected us, and it still does to a certain degree. It protects us from danger. But the thing is, as we years ago, so it starts creating all these boundaries that it wants you to stay in because it doesn't understand the world we live in. So it ends up creating all these negativities to force you to stay in your comfort zone. So one of your negative points is about yourself is that you're not confident. We've already shown that that can't be true because you're confident you're not confident, therefore you're confident. So you're confident in the negativity, but you're not confident in the positivity. So this is where the affirmations come in. You need to rewire your mind to understand and get the neural pathways rewired towards positivity. And then you will start believing you're confident. And then that confidence becomes natural. It becomes your normality. And this is where it starts. It's stepping stones. It's taking that little step. Yeah, that's all it is. Take yourself out of the comfort zone, and that's exactly what it's all about. Is you can take yourself out of the comfort zone, and by doing that, you'd be amazed at how empowering it is. Your soul reacts to it. Your higher consciousness reacts to it, and what that reaction is you tapping into the higher vibrational frequencies. You will feel it when you do it. I'm not saying you have to come straight onto TikTok and start doing this. Go out and do a video talking to yourself on a video, like about where you are, as if you're doing it, but don't even post it. Just do something like that. Maybe then move it up a level and do it in a public area where people are around you. You'll start seeing that people don't react to you. People aren't interested. And the people that do react negatively are nothing to do with you, but you're not going to get that because it's all in your mind. You create these boundaries in your head that you believe so much that you actually won't go out and do it. I mean, it's like you're creating a failure in your head, but if you don't go out and do it, then you've failed already. So you're as well giving it a go and trying it, and just get yourself out of that comfort zone. I'm an introvert. I never in my life would see me doing this. I liked doing business. I liked running business because I liked the fact that I could sit in the background and do things while other people went out and did shit for me. But I'd also then gotten to a point where I liked then pulling myself out of the comfort zone and going out and meeting people. And that's when the empowerment came about. That's when I started feeling alive. I started feeling myself. I wasn't, you're creating a bound to a negative restriction on yourself that doesn't exist, if you see what I mean. So believe you're confident. Just taking self out of the comfort zone, I think, after the first time to be easier. Yeah, but that's it. Just compound effect. Don't expect everything at once the next day. Don't wake up thinking I'm going to suddenly be this masterful being of confidence that can shout from the top of the rooftops that I am alive. Like, it's like, just go out there and do little bits. Maybe even sit in the car with a window down in the car park and do a video, and know that people are going by. Just create a comfort zone that is outside your comfort zone, if that makes sense, and then create a bigger comfort zone outside of that comfort zone. And what you'll find is you're actually, when you look back at it in a month, how much you've grown and how much that empowers you to then go, I can do anything I want. I can go and create what I want and do what I want to be. I don't need these restrictions on me. I am creating my own cell. I'm creating my own prison for my mind by thinking like that. And that's what it's all about, is getting yourself out of that mindset and understanding that you can empower yourself. It is only you that is restricting yourself. And you came into this universe with a mindset that I can do whatever I want and I can manifest anything into my life. And then the limited beliefs came about from what other people told you and what other people educated you around and all this. And that's where your subconscious mind created these limited beliefs that you're now attaching yourself to. And you need to release yourself from that. Meditation, affirmations are key to it. It's scientifically proven that after 6 months of constant affirmations that you've completely rewired your brain, you're a completely different person. You've changed your personality, and you will notice it in your outer world. You'll notice it in the way that people react to you. I've done law of attraction techniques where I've been like, I am now going to manifest people are going to spend more time talking to me. I'm going to have people be more affectionate towards me, smile at me. That person at the desk and reception who never speaks because she just doesn't like speak to people is going to speak to me. Things like that, and it actually starts to happen. It's like there's the analogy around the whole thing with if you were driving down a road and say you're driving to work and someone turns around to you and says, when you get to your work, they go, how many red cars did you see, by the way, on the way to work? You're like, no idea. 3, 4, 10, 20, no idea. Someone turns around to you now and says, if you look for every red car on the way to work, I will give you £5 for every red car. You'll start looking for it. So you'll see it. And then when you get to work, they'll be like, all right, how many red cars do you see? 55. So I want that money now. Because you put your mind on it, you've changed your thought process. You've created an image in your head about having something you want in your life. So if you can do that with everything in your life that you want, these things start to appear in your life. These opportunities start to arise. I had a point where me and my partner, Karen, we love our clothes. We love our designer clothes. We always get invited to these events. We got invited to a Prada event, and I spent crazy amount of money on clothes. I bought a top for 1,400 quid. I bought a pair of trainers for nearly £1,000. And I remember thinking at the time, I thought, what are you doing, Phil? This is a lot of money for 2 items. And I remember thinking, it's 2.5 grand. I will manifest that 2.5 grand out of my business. That's how I'm going to get it. And I'm not kidding you. Within a week, I got an order for a job to do a fire suppression check, and it was 2.5 grand. It came out of nowhere, didn't expect it. It came out, and I did this repeatedly with a few things. And it's crazy how when you start manifesting it to the specifics, where you have to be specific about it, these things actually start to appear. I've had points where I've been like, I've just spent £750 on something. I want a contract of £750, and to that roundabout number, I end up with a contract of £760 or £740, to the point where sometimes I've had a contract of less than that amount, and I've complained to the universe, and I've got that amount back. It's, and it doesn't have to just be based around money. It can be based around anything. And this is where it gets exciting. This is where people start to not believe you that it exists, because you start talking in what sounds delusional. But this is exactly what the law of attraction is. And if you can just compound your belief into it each day through changing who you are as a person by doing the affirmations, doing the meditations, you start to see the change in yourself that changes your reality. And I don't care what anyone says. I come from a background of engineering. I'm a logical mind. I come from a background of science. I did a physics degree in quantum physics and nuclear science. I did a degree in an HND in engineering. I come from a scientific background where I have been forced through experiences in my life to realize that there's more to life than what's going on, than what we're taught. There's more of a spiritual side to it. There's more of a higher consciousness guiding you through life. It's not everything set in stone and linear. It's everything is there as an opportunity. There are versions of you that exist out there that you can tap into, that already have everything you want. And you can tap into that and become that person by changing your mindset through just thinking it. It's actually that simple, but it takes dedication and it takes faith. It's like, that's where faith comes from. It's having faith in the belief system and just letting yourself go to it and build up the positivity from it. So on that note, guys, I'm going to have to go. If you want, like and follow me, guys. I'd really appreciate if you joined up my newsletter. There's going to be loads of stuff on this. If you go to my link in the bio, and there's courses in there on hypnosis and manifestations. There's courses in there to do with what else have I got in there? There's a 10K in a month guide if you want to start getting into digital marketing, which is what I ended up getting into, which has helped me with my finances, helped me with my law of attraction techniques, because it's a way of getting money in from the universe in a way, because you don't know where it's coming from. It's just through the internet. It's really help you with your finances if it's something you really want to get into. But it's all in the bio. But I would really appreciate if you guys follow me. You can get more content on this. I've got a consultation offer on there as well. Right now I'm doing discovery calls for, I say half an hour, but you know, I've had some that have gone on for over an hour, and it's free. It's just to help you out with yourself, see where you are in life, if there's anything I can help you with, see what you can opportunities are out there for you from the universe. And as corny as that sounds, that's what it is, and I believe that soul-heartedly, and I will never now dismiss it. And yeah, oh sorry, it's trying to kick me out of my live. I'm back in. So yeah, join the newsletter. You'll get more like this. You'll get meditations for you for free as well that you can try. There'll be guided meditations. If you've never done meditations, it will teach you how to do it. There's even hypnosis courses on how to teach yourself to do it. Hypnosis has been a big key thing for me in really just eliminating limited beliefs. And yeah, they're really worth looking into. But if you are struggling, there's a one-to-one consultation on there, and I'm keen to speak to you all. I think after the first time, easiest. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Ames. It was good to see you on here again. But yeah, guys, I'm back on again tomorrow. I'll be back on at 7 p.m. again. And if you have any topics you want to talk about, to have a think about it when you come on, we'll see what we can chat about. But I'll just be diving back into law of attraction, manifestation techniques, my scientific background on it all. I'll probably dive more into the science. I haven't really done that, to be fair. It flies by on here. I didn't think that's been an hour already. But I'll dive into that. And what I'll like to talk about is getting into how to get yourself out of the rat race as well, and where digital marketing is the future, and where that can help you with getting into the mindset of understanding that you could have an infinite supply of money coming in from the universe, we'll say, but you know, from building up a belief system in yourself and diving into something that gets you out of that rat race of the 9 to 5. But it's good to see you all on here again. It's good to see I had a couple more back on that were on yesterday, and I'll see you all at 7 p.m. tomorrow.